Yo, what's up, guys? What another horrible and embarrassing loss by the Dallas Cowboys tonight, losing to the Arizona Cardinals 27-17. Now, guys, where to begin with this football game? Now, I thought the Cowboys started off the game really well. They had a really good first drive. And then, unfortunately, the Cowboys get to the red zone, of course, and the Cowboys go for it on fourth down, get nothing out of it. And I just knew right then and there, it's going to be a long, bloody night for this Dallas Cowboys team, especially the offense. The way this Arizona Cardinals defense was playing tonight, give them some credit. They played really well tonight against this Dallas Cowboys offense. They really stunted the offense tonight, guys. It was very surprising to see. We obviously know that the Cowboys have one of the best offenses in the league. Of course, they're averaging over 30 points a game. That's the second most in the league, of course. And tonight, the Cardinals' defense really stagnated the Cowboys' offense. Dak getting sacked 5 times tonight. He didn't look himself. Even though CeeDee Lamb and Pickens had over almost 80 yards receiving, the both of them, Williams had 83 yards rushing. This offense could not get anything going, guys, the first half of this game and most of the third quarter. Obviously, they get a touchdown by Flournoy. They obviously have the block punt to get the touchdown, but that was already after the damage was done by the Arizona Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett playing for Kyler Murray. After Murray being out for 3 games with a foot injury, they don't have their number one back in James Conner, who's out for there with a foot injury as well. And you have Marvin Harrison Jr. setting a career high in receptions, of course. Just another week for the Dallas Cowboys defense, of course. Another receiver having a career day or career night, of course. It's just very frustrating to see. You see Deron Bland getting his ankles broken on the red zone for Harrison to get that touchdown there. Jacoby Brissett looks like the second coming of Tom Brady. The way this defense looks, of course, the way the Cardinals were converting on 3rd and longs, the penalties the Cowboys were taking was just another week by the Dallas Cowboys defense. I mentioned it many times in my past videos. I'm going to be a broken record this season talking about how putrid this defense is. And they showed it again tonight, just continuously letting the Cardinals dictate play, dictating the line of scrimmage, of course, going on 13, 14 play drives, eating a shit ton of minutes off the clock. Of course, what do you expect the Cowboys offense to do, honestly, guys? The Cowboys offense, you can't expect them to put 30 points up a game every bloody week the way this defense operates. One of these days, the Cowboys offense is going to have a bad night, and tonight they had a bad night, and this defense here ain't going to bail them out, of course. That's why we only scored 17 points. The defense of the Cardinals was spectacular. Our defense is garbage. You just know it's a recipe for bloody disaster, of course. And the Cardinals losing 5 in a row coming into this game. Like I said before in the past, you're having a bad few weeks. Come to Dallas. You'll find a way to get out of your funk. And another team like the Cardinals did it again tonight, guys, snapping their 5-game losing streak. It's so frustrating knowing that teams see the Cowboys on their schedule and they're like, oh, we're going to Dallas. Let's kick out the kinks now that we're going over there. We'll have no problems going over there. It's just getting very frustrating, not only every week, but every year dealing with the same bullshit. And now, with the deadline coming up tomorrow, of course, you got Jerry Jones running his mouth saying, we got a trade. We made a trade, but I can't release the details till tomorrow. Of course, typical Jerry Jones, taking advantage of a headline saying, oh, we have a trade, but I'm not going to disclose who it is until tomorrow, of course. Jerry Jones make everybody itch thinking who it is, but no NFL insider can decipher who the Cowboys are trading for. So, typical Jerry Jones making everyone talk about the Cowboys, get their focus off the disaster that's on the field, of course. And even you got him sitting beside Stephen A. You see Stephen A. After Javonte Williams has that fumble, of course, you're like, Stephen A's like, I got to get out of here. I can't waste my time watching 3 hours of this bullshit. And I totally agree with him. The Cowboys offense had their worst game of the season, guys. You have 2 fumbles by Ferguson and Williams, of course. The offense just did not look good. And that's a credit to the Cardinals defense, like I mentioned, guys. Sacking Dak 5 times. They just could not get their game going. The offensive line, taking some penalties. Getting Cooper Beebe back is nice, but that ain't good enough to win football games, guys. And even if the Cowboys do have a trade in place, do we really expect this guy to come in to help the defense? One man cannot help the defense. Even if we still had Micah, I think we all know that even God walking through that door ain't going to help this defense this year. There is just no hope for this football team this year, guys. There's no hope for winning any games easily. There's no hope of seeing the Cowboys not get embarrassed every week defensively, of course. And of course, Brian Schottenheimer just has to go to the podium every week and say, you know, we have to go out there and make risk every fourth down, because obviously he's not going to say it, but we all know that his defense can't stop a lick. For nothing, of course. You know, they can't stop a nosebleed, like Charles Barkley said yesterday on ESPN. They cannot stop a bloody nosebleed, and we all know that. And Shotty knows that too. That's why the Cowboys went for it multiple times on fourth down, because they needed points, and this defense here can't stop shit all. The only positive thing, like I mentioned, was the block punt and the Flournoy touchdown. That's pretty much it. Aubrey had a 68-yard field goal missed, of course. That would have been nice to see him tie the record after it was broken yesterday by the Jaguars kicker Little. So that would have been the only highlight of the game, guys. But just another horrendous performance by the defense. Cowboys offense have their worst game statistically, and just a bad performance. Their worst performance of the season. I think we could all agree on that. And then, of course, the Cardinals snapped their 5-game losing streak, like I mentioned, guys. So they're happy. They came to Dallas. The thing that I'm happy about most, guys, is that the Cowboys have a bye week next week. I don't have to endure this BS next week, and I can get a week off from this horrendous football club that I watch, this football team that I watch every bloody week, guys. It's just so frustrating to waste 3 hours every week watching this team. I love this football team. I'll always love this football team. But my God, it's a struggle watching this team every bloody week, the way they bloody play and perform, and the stadium just stays full the way it is every week. Just people just seem to not give a shit regardless of what happens. They're going to go fill up the seats because the Cowboys are such a massive brand. People want to go and take advantage of seeing something nice. Well, the stadium may be nice, but the product on the field is very, very ugly right now, guys. We'll see what Jerry Jones has up his sleeve tomorrow with the deadline. I'll make a video if something big happens, even though it's not going to make a massive impact on the defensive side of the ball and help the team at all in general, guys. But tell me your thoughts and opinions about this football game. Another horrendous performance by the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, click like if you like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Cowboys, go as always, guys. And remember, if you do not watch sports, you're on more. Ciao, guys.